What's up, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Bleeding Priest Bay Area Metal Spotlight. And for this one, I'm doing a pretty obscure group. I'm sure not many of you have heard of these guys, but they were great in the late '80s, early '90s. They never really broke out of the Bay Area scene that I know of, but they were pretty popular here in our hometown, home area. And the band is Tyrranicide. And the album is God Save the Scene. It came out in 89, I believe. Yeah, 89. Yeah, pretty obscure group, but you should know about these guys. They're fucking great. I think my first band, Armaments, opened for them at the Pony Express Pizza Parlor in Redwood City. Don't look for it, it's not there anymore. My first 3 or 4 gigs were at this pizza parlor. And Tyrranicide played here all the time. So I either opened for them or I just saw one of their shows. But the first time I saw them was at the Pony Express Pizza Parlor, and they kicked my ass. And for the first reason they kicked my ass, the most obvious reason is the drummer, he's physically impaired. He can't walk. He's in crutches all the time. And I think he even played in a wheelchair. And I'm not quite sure how he does that because there's a kick drum going. And it sounded great live, so I don't know what his affliction is or was, but he was always on crutches or in a wheelchair, but he played drums like a fucking whirling dervish. That's the name of the label that this album came out on. But he's a kick-ass drummer, and he was able to do it, so more power to him. But of course, that's something you notice right away. Even when I first saw him, I was like 15, but I was like, holy shit. That guy's in crutches and now he's playing drums. Like, you don't see that very often, So it was very memorable, and it was the talk of the town, actually. Everyone, whenever someone would bring up Tyrranicide, they'd go, oh, that's the band with the drummer? Yeah, yeah. So that got attention, and it helped that he was kick-ass and they were kick-ass. They're like a mixture of thrash and hardcore, kind of crossover stuff. Maybe a little more on the thrash side, but definitely DIY type of stuff. This album was recorded an $800 budget, and even back then in '88 when it was recorded, that's nothing. I mean, and this album sounds great. That's pretty fucking impressive. They were able to do that, and there's like 12 songs on this record, so it's not like an EP. It's a full length with plenty of music, and they did it. They fucking kick ass. They were a short-lived band though. Their lifespan was from like the mid 80s they started, and they ended in the early 90s, I believe. This is their only full-length album. They did a couple of demos before this, and I think a couple of EPs after that I've never heard. They're impossible to find. So yeah, very short-lived but great fucking band. I saw them many times back in the day. One of the guys in this band, Tim Narducci, he's gone on to be a pretty well-known musician in the Bay Area scene. He's currently in a band called The Watchers, but he also does a kick-ass ZZ Top tribute band called Beer Drinkers and Hellraisers. Fucking awesome. The bass player in that band, Cornbread, was a bass player in Vicious Rumors when I was in Vicious Rumors. So it's all connected. The Bay Area is the most incestuous music scene of them all, bar none. But yeah, so I don't know what happened to the rest of the guys in this band. I'm really curious what happened to the drummer, if he kept on playing after, or if his condition worsened, or what. I don't know. I don't know what his condition was. Like back then when I was 15 years old, I was just too afraid to ask him, like how do you approach that? And even now when I'm 51 years old, I don't know how to approach that. And I tried doing some reading on these guys online, and there's no information about that. So I've always wondered how he was able to do it and what was going on, but he did a great fucking job. And yeah, this album's fucking awesome. If you like DIY type of thrash, like street thrash, grassroots thrash, no frills, no big production, just going for it, man. Aggressive as fuck, and lots of like angry screaming. Lyrically, it's very socially conscious and politically conscious, and it's just good stuff, man. They even have a song called Drink, Drive, and Die, I believe. So, yeah, you can guess where they're going with it. But, yeah, you should check out Tyrranicide. I think their CD They have a CD that came out in Dive Bomb Records, the same label that put out the Warfare DC retrospective CD. So on that particular CD, it has this album, and I think both their demos and both their EPs. So you can get their whole discography in one fell swoop. So check them out on Dive Bomb Records. And if you find this in the wilds, pick it up. I mean, it's not an easy record to find, but I highly recommend this for anyone who's a fan of like crossover type of thrash. So check out Tyrranicide, God Save the Scene. One more thing, I love this album cover. It just proves how DIY they are. But I like how it's supposed to be Broadway Street, I believe, in San Francisco, or maybe it's supposed to be Berkeley, or like an amalgam of the two. But I like how Bono and the Edge are here in the corner singing, because this came out shortly after they performed at Justin Herman Plaza, and Bono spray painted all over the sculpture, and a big to do, like there was a big outrage about it. So, anyways, yeah, fun little factoid. But yeah, pick this album up if you can find it. See you next time.